Every single rider watching this video has done the low wave. Your left hand drops off the handlebar, 2 fingers out, a casual nod. You have done it 1,000 times without thinking about it. You probably figured it started in the 60s or the 70s, maybe some biker gang thing. Nope. Harley-Davidson has promoted a story that the wave traces back to 1904, when William Harley and Arthur Davidson greeted each other while testing their second prototype near Milwaukee. Whether that is the literal origin or just great brand mythology, it puts the tradition at well over a century old, and that is just the very surface of the motorcycle iceberg. Today, we are going all the way down. 50 facts, 4 tiers, starting with things every rider knows and ending with engineering experiments and military prototypes so bizarre they sound completely made up. By the bottom of this iceberg, you will realize that motorcycle history is way more insane than anyone gives it credit for. Let us start at the surface. Tier 1. The stuff most riders already know, or at least think they know. You have heard the phrase, "loud pipes save lives." Riders love it. Bumper stickers are everywhere, and it is practically a religion. But a study covered by WWII in 2021 found that a motorcycle would need to emit over 135 decibels at the exhaust to be heard inside a car cabin 15 meters ahead. That is well beyond what any legal street exhaust is likely to produce. On top of that, the exhaust points backward. The landmark 1981 Hurt report from USC found that roughly 2/3 of multi-vehicle motorcycle crashes involve a car violating the bike's right-of-way, often by making a left turn from the front. So the sound is going the wrong direction for the most common crash scenario. It is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of riders. Okay, those were the myths. Now let's talk history. California is still the only US state where full lane splitting is legal, signed into law in August 2016 under Governor Jerry Brown. Utah, Montana, Arizona, Colorado, and Minnesota allow limited lane filtering under specific conditions. Most riders assume it is either illegal everywhere or legal everywhere. Neither is true. Harley-Davidson's nickname Hog? Not from the engine sound. Around 1920, a factory racer named Ray Weishar was photographed sharing a Coke with the racing team's pet pig after a win. The Hog nickname stuck, and Harley eventually formalized it as the Harley Owners Group in 1983. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club was founded on St. Patrick's Day, 1948, in Fontana, California, by Otto Friedli, a World War II veteran who had been riding with a group called the Pissed Off Bastards of Bloomington. The club's name was suggested by associate Arvid Olsen, inspired by World War II military aviation nicknames. So the most infamous motorcycle club in history is named after a World War II fighter squadron. Most people have no idea. Here is one that will start arguments at any bike night. Indian Motorcycle is older than Harley-Davidson. Indian's first prototype was demonstrated in Springfield, Massachusetts on June 1st, 1901. Harley did not have their first prototype until 1903. Every Harley rider who claims they ride the original American motorcycle brand is technically wrong. The Isle of Man TT is widely regarded as the deadliest motorsport event in history. According to compiled records through the 2023 season, at least 269 people have died on the Snaefell Mountain course since racing began there in 1907. The deadliest year was 2005, with 11 fatalities across the TT and Manx Grand Prix combined. Riders still line up every single year. That says something about the people who race motorcycles. T.E. Lawrence of Arabia himself, owned 8 Bro Superior SS 100 motorcycles. He crashed his 7th one near Clouds Hill, Dorset on May 13, 1935, swerving to avoid 2 boys on bicycles. He died 6 days later. His neurosurgeon, Hugh Cairns, was so affected that he led the campaign for mandatory motorcycle helmets. One crash changed helmet policy forever. All right, things are about to get a little Hollywood. The Captain America chopper from Easy Rider was built by Cliff Voss and Ben Hardy from old Harley-Davidson Hydra Glide police bikes that Peter Fonda bought at auction for around $500 total. 4 bikes were built for the film. 1 was burned in the final scene. The other 3 were stolen before the premiere and never recovered. there is still a mystery around those missing choppers. Cafe racers got their name from the Ace Cafe on London's North Circular Road. Post-war rockers in the 1950s would drop a coin in the jukebox, and the goal was to ride to a set point and back before the song ended, ideally hitting the ton, meaning 100 miles per hour. That jukebox timer tradition is literally where the cafe racer aesthetic was born. And here's one that breaks people's brains every single time: counter steering. Above about 10 miles per hour, you turn a motorcycle by pushing the handlebars in the opposite direction. Push left to go left. It's documented physics, published in the American Journal of Physics, and the Motorcycle Safety Foundation teaches it in every basic rider course. Your brain refuses to believe it, but your hands do it automatically every time you ride. Honda's 1963 advertising campaign with the slogan, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda," basically saved American motorcycling from its outlaw image. It started as a UCLA marketing class assignment, gray advertising picked it up, and Honda sold over 100,000 units that year alone. Total US motorcycle sales across all brands were only around 148,000. Honda owned the market overnight with a single campaign. And Sturgis, that started on August 14, 1938 as the Black Hills Motor Classic, organized by an Indian motorcycle dealer named Clarence Pappy Howell and the Jack Pine Gypsies Club. The first event had 9 racers and about 175 spectators. The 75th anniversary in 2015 drew 739,000 official visitors. From 9 racers to 750,000 people in under 80 years. We've survived Tier 1. Now the casual riders are gone. Now we're sinking below the surface. Welcome to Tier 2, the mid-level. If you're a casual rider, this is where you start learning things. If you're an enthusiast, this is where you start getting surprised. Ducati's famous desmodromic valve system, the one that defines their engineering identity, was not actually invented by Ducati. Mercedes-Benz popularized a modern racing application of desmodromic actuation in their W196 Formula One car and the 300 SLR that dominated the 1954 and 1955 Mille Miglia. The problem they were solving was valve float at high RPM, where conventional springs could not close valves fast enough. Ducati engineer Fabio Taglioni later adapted the principle for the 1956 Ducati 125 Grand Prix racer, and Ducati has used it ever since. So every Ducati on the road traces its signature technology back to a racing concept that Mercedes proved on the world stage first. In 1966, Honda built a 250 cubic centimeter inline 6-cylinder engine for their RC166 race bike. Designed by Shoichiro Irimajiri, it produced 60 horsepower at 18,000 revolutions per minute from just 250 cubic centimeters, with cylinder bores of only 35 millimeters each. Mike Halewood won 10 out of 10 races that season on it. For context, Formula One WWII 10 engines did not regularly hit 18,000 revolutions per minute until the 1990s. Honda did it on a motorcycle 30 years earlier. The term 1%er, the one you see stitched on outlaw biker vests everywhere, supposedly comes from a statement the American Motorcyclist Association made after the 1947 Hollister Rally incident, when Life magazine ran that famous photo of a drunk rider on a parked Harley. The AMA allegedly said that 99% of motorcyclists are law-abiding citizens. The outlaws embraced the other 1%. But here's the thing. The American Medical Association officially denies ever making that statement. The most iconic phrase in outlaw biker culture might be based on a quote that was never actually said. That was strange. This next one is legendary. In September 1948, a man named Raleigh Free rode a Vincent Black Lightning at Bonneville Salt Flats and hit 150.313 miles per hour. To shave every last bit of aerodynamic drag, he stripped down to swim trunks, tennis shoes, and a shower cap, then lay flat on the rear fender. That photograph became one of the most famous images in motorcycle history. The bike's cousin, the Vincent Black Shadow, was simultaneously being advertised as the world's fastest production motorcycle at 125 miles per hour. In 1948, most cars couldn't even crack 100 miles per hour. Speaking of records that seem impossible, Burt Munro set his under 1,000 cubic centimeter streamliner record at Bonneville on August 26, 1967. He was 68 years old. He was riding a modified 1920 Indian Scout that he had been tuning in his shed in New Zealand for over 40 years. He hit 184.087 miles per hour. His record in that specific AMA tracked streamliner category has endured for decades, and as of 2026, nobody has beaten it. A record approaching 60 years old, set on a motorcycle that was already 47 years old when he raced it. The Honda Super Cub is the best-selling motor vehicle in history. Not a car, not a truck, motor vehicle. Honda passed 100 million cumulative Super Cub units produced in October 2017, the company announced at their Kumamoto factory. If someone asks you what the best-selling vehicle ever made is, and they expect you to say Toyota Corolla, you get to correct them. The 1969 Kawasaki H1 Mach 3 earned its nickname the Widowmaker for very good reasons. It had a 498 cubic centimeter two-stroke triple engine making 60 horsepower, shoved into a chassis with drum brakes and barely functional suspension, and it sold for $999. It ran the quarter mile in 12 seconds, and it tried to kill its rider while doing it. Two-stroke power delivery in the 1960s was genuinely unhinged. And if you want to talk about unhinged, Boss Haas Cycles out of Dyersburg, Tennessee has been stuffing full Chevrolet V8 engines into motorcycle frames since 1990. We're talking small block and big block Chevys, 376 to 496 cubic inches of displacement, with a 2-speed semi-automatic transmission. The largest production motorcycle engine in the world is literally a car engine. If you're enjoying this deep dive, hit subscribe. We cover motorcycle history and culture every week, and we're about to go way further down this iceberg. Tier 3, the deep level. This is where even dedicated bike nerds start Googling things. In 1974, Suzuki released the RE5, the only major Japanese production motorcycle ever powered by a Wankel rotary engine. They hired Italian car designer Giorgetto Giugiaro to style it, and he went absolutely wild. The cylindrical instrument cluster on the handlebars had a protective visor that automatically slid open when you turned the ignition key. It featured a temperature gauge, low fuel warning, and a digital gear position indicator in 1974. The taillight, turn signals, and air intake were all designed to echo the rotary engine motif. Cycle World later named it one of the 10 worst motorcycles ever made. Only about 6,000 were built. But the RE5 was not even the first production Wankel motorcycle. That honor goes to the West German Hercules W2000, which launched the same year using a 294 cubic centimeters Sachs single-rotor engine making 27 horsepower. Only 1,784 were built. Almost everyone credits Suzuki as first. They are wrong. When Honda wanted to return to Grand Prix racing in 1979, they hit a wall. The Racing Federation limited 500 cubic centimeter 4-stroke engines to just 4 cylinders. Honda's solution was borderline insane. They created oval-shaped pistons, each with 8 valves and 2 spark plugs, and each piston ran 2 connecting rods. It was, for all practical purposes, a V8 disguised as a legal V4 by fusing cylinder pairs together. The road-going 1992 Honda NR750 used this technology. Only 322 were built, and each one cost around $50,000 at the time. The most creative rule bending in motorcycle racing history. In 1956, Wilhelm Hertz rode the NSU Delphin III to 211.4 miles per hour at Bonneville. A fully streamlined 500 cubic centimeter motorcycle, its bodywork was designed in a University of Stuttgart wind tunnel. It was the first motorcycle to break the 200 miles per hour barrier, and it was German. Now this next one might be the wildest engineering choice in the entire iceberg. The 1922 Megala motorcycle, designed by Fritz Cockerell in Munich, had a 5-cylinder radial engine mounted inside its front wheel. It had no clutch and no gearbox, which meant if you needed to stop, you either killed the engine or rode in small circles until you figured something out. Race versions hit 88 miles per hour at the Berlin AVUS track, and Tony Bauhofer won the 1924 German Championship on one. About 2,000 were built before hyperinflation destroyed the company in 1925. Norton's Wankel rotary engine wasn't just a curiosity, it actually won the 1992 Senior Tourist Trophy at the Isle of Man. Steve Hislop rode the 588 cubic centimeters twin-rotor Norton NRS 588 to victory over Carl Fogarty's Yamaha by just 4.4 seconds. It was Norton's first tourist trophy win since 1961, and it's regularly voted the greatest tourist trophy race ever run. A rotary motorcycle won the most famous race on Earth. MV Agusta won every single 500 cubic centimeter world championship from 1958 through 1974, 17 consecutive titles, with riders like Giacomo Agostini, John Surtees, and Mike Halewood. Across all racing classes, MV Agusta collected 75 world titles total. And somehow, most American riders could not name this dynasty if you paid them. Japan's Bosozoku biker subculture peaked at 42,510 members in 1982, according to National Police Agency figures. The movement traced back to the 1950s, originally called Kaminari-zoku, or Thunder Tribe. After Japan revised its road traffic law in 2004, allowing police to arrest suspected Bosozoku on the spot, membership collapsed to 6,771 by 2015. The police reclassified them as pseudo-yakuza in 2013. An entire motorcycle subculture, essentially legislated out of existence. Now let's talk about motorcycles that probably shouldn't exist. The Dodge Tomahawk debuted in 2003 with a Viper 8.3-liter V10 engine producing 500 horsepower, mounted on 4 wheels. Dodge claimed a theoretical top speed somewhere between 300 and 420 miles per hour. 9 units were sold through the Neiman Marcus Christmas catalog for $555,000 each. Chrysler's own chief operating officer confirmed that nobody ever rode the thing past 100 miles per hour during testing. The claimed top speed was, as multiple automotive journalists pointed out, physically impossible given the drag and rolling resistance at those speeds. The current official motorcycle land speed record belongs to the ACX Attack Streamliner, ridden by Rocky Robinson at Bonneville on September 25, 2010. Powered by 2 turbocharged Suzuki Hayabusa engines, each displacing 1,299 cubic centimeters, and together making over 900 combined horsepower, it recorded a certified speed of 376.363 miles per hour, with a one-way exit speed of 394 miles per hour. The fastest motorcycle in the world, and most people couldn't even name it. We've reached the bottom, Tier 4, the abyss. If you've made it this far, congratulations, because the facts down here are so deep that even lifelong motorcycle obsessives might not know them. The MTTY 2K turbine superbike is powered by a refurbished Rolls-Royce Allison 250C20B turboshaft engine. The same engine powers Bell 206 Jet Ranger helicopters. It spins at 52,000 revolutions per minute, produces 420 horsepower, and is limited by its gearing to 273 miles per hour. Originally listed at $185,000 when it launched in 2000, it held the Guinness record as the most expensive production motorcycle ever. Jay Leno owns one, and the exhaust reportedly generates enough heat to make traffic behind it extremely uncomfortable. Oh, and there's no engine braking whatsoever. When you let off the throttle, the turbine keeps spinning. You rely entirely on the Brembo disc brakes. That is an actual street-legal motorcycle you could buy. This next fact is possibly the most tragic loss in motorcycle engineering history. According to surviving historical accounts, in the late 1930s, 5 German engineers, including Robert Killinger and Walter Freund, spent roughly 3 years building a fully streamlined motorcycle prototype with a 600 cubic centimeter, 3-cylinder, 2-stroke engine mounted inside the front wheel. It was an evolution of the Magola concept, but with a proper clutch, a 2-speed gearbox, and rotary disc intake valves. The whole thing weighed only 135 kilograms. It looked like something from a science fiction film. In 1938, World War II killed any chance of production. A single surviving prototype was discovered by American troops in the spring of 1945. It was briefly displayed in the United States. And then, according to historical records, it was sold for scrap. One of the most futuristic motorcycle designs of the 20th century gone to a scrapyard. The BMW R75 military sidecar motorcycle, developed between 1938 and 1941 for the German Army, had a feature that sounds like it belongs on a modern off-road vehicle. The sidecar wheel was powered through a locking differential connected to the rear-wheel drive system, effectively making it a 2-wheel drive motorcycle. It also had an 8-speed dual-ratio gearbox with a reverse gear. About 16,500 were produced before Allied bombing destroyed the Eisenach factory in 1944. The US Army was so impressed that they asked Harley-Davidson to copy the concept, which led to the shaft-driven Harley-Davidson XA. The Soviet Union's Ural sidecar motorcycle, still in production today, is widely believed to be a direct descendant of a reverse-engineered BMW R71. The story goes that in 1940, the Soviets acquired 5 R71 motorcycles through Swedish intermediaries and copied the design into the M72. Production moved to Irbit in October 1941, and the factory eventually became IMZ Ural. Current models still use an air-cooled flat twin, shaft drive, and selectable two-wheel drive to the sidecar. Over 3 million sidecar motorcycles have rolled off the line since 1941. A Russian national motorcycle that started life as a German copy, and as of August 2022, production moved to Petropavlovsk, Kazakhstan. We're not done. It gets weirder. The Munch Mammoth, built by German engineer Friedel Munch starting in 1966, used an NSU Prince 1000 car engine in a motorcycle chassis. The later 1973 TTSE variant featured Kugelfischer mechanical fuel injection, making about 100 horsepower from 1,278 cubic centimeters. It was one of the earliest fuel-injected production motorcycles ever made, and fewer than 500 total Mammoths were ever built. Almost nobody knows this bike exists. MotoGP bikes use pneumatic valve springs, compressed nitrogen instead of metal coils, allowing engines to rev past 18,000 revolutions per minute without valve float. That technology was invented by Jean-Pierre Boudi at Renault Sport for their Formula One engine in 1986. Aprilia brought it to motorcycle racing with their RS3 Cube in 2002. Every current MotoGP manufacturer uses pneumatic valves now except Ducati, who still run their desmodromic system. It is Formula One technology on a motorcycle, and most fans watching MotoGP on Sunday have no idea. Experimental Norton work with desmodromic valve actuation appears to date as far back as 1949, a full 5 years before Mercedes-Benz is credited with popularizing the concept in their W196 Formula One car. So the standard narrative that desmodromic equals Ducati innovation, it skips at least 2 earlier chapters in the story. And here's the one that wraps this whole iceberg together. The very first internal combustion motorcycle, the 1885 Daimler Reitwagen, was built by Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach, with a 264 cubic centimeter engine making about half a horsepower. Daimler's 17-year-old son Paul was the first person to ride it on November 10, 1885, from Cannstatt to Untertürkheim. The original was destroyed in a factory fire in 1903, but here is the detail that will keep you up at night. The Reitwagen had 2 outrigger stabilizer wheels on either side, meaning the very first internal combustion motorcycle in history wasn't technically a 2-wheeler at all. The entire concept of motorcycling, from that 1904 Harley Wave all the way down to Killinger and Freund's lost masterpiece, is built on a machine that started with training wheels. That's 50 facts, and honestly, we barely scratched the surface of the surface. Motorcycle history is one of those rabbit holes where the deeper you go, the stranger it gets. If you made it all the way to the bottom of this iceberg, you're the kind of person who needs to be subscribed to this channel. Drop a comment telling me which fact blew your mind the most, and I'll see you in the next one.